And welcome to another edition of Taking Over. It's me, Oled Ed Fries, and I'm joined by my tag team partner, the natural. Sorry, that's the wrong show for him to be on. He's my tag team partner tomorrow night. But hey, it's Chris Parrish joining us as well. Hello, Parrish. How you been?
Every day's hump day for me.
You're enjoying this first week with no work, aren't you? Where you're like, I can be on all the shows.
Today's actually my first day.
Oh, today's your first day?
That's a holiday for us.
There you go.
I didn't know what to do with myself. I went shopping today.
In the Hot Seat Podcast joining us, giving us a little wave. Hello, Daphne. Thank you for joining us. So, I named this episode Chase You Investigated because I thought it'd be funny because I didn't know what the theme of the show was going to be. And I was like, this will be fun. And then it was the through line for a majority of the show, believe it or not. And I was like, all right, cool, we're going to keep it. So I have to apparently make a Chase You thumbnail tonight now.
Yes,
what did you guys think of the show tonight, just in general, before we start getting into it?
I don't know. I feel like I'm in between about it because there were some things that I don't want to say were questionable, but were like, I guess, shocking. But it was like an okay episode for me.
We'll get to her later.
I know.
But trust me, we'll get to her.
I'm upset. Anyway.
I'll admit, I did, as soon as that match finished, messaged Astrid with the words, cough, cough, I'm sick.
Right.
Paris, what do you think of tonight's show?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't its best, but it wasn't like there was good things coming out of it. I think Gallus is totally ready for the main roster.
Yes, some of these people are ready for the main roster, and we're going to have that discussion later on in the show about whether or not it's time to start bringing up some of these people and stop having them languish in NXT a bit too long. I really liked the show. I thought it was a good show from beginning to end. I didn't think anything besides the obvious dragged the show down at all. But no, I thought that the things backstage were good because they set up things that happened in the ring. The flow felt good because there was a couple of things of, we do this backstage leading into this next match that has to do with this thing we just did. And they did it over and over and over again tonight. I thought that was really cool how they tried to flow everything together a little bit better. It wasn't as choppy. with some of these, backstage commercial, backstage in-ring things. We start with Andre Chase and the rest of Chase U arriving to the arena and being bombarded by the paparazzi. Because so many people cover NXT on a weekly basis that there are paparazzi outside the Performance Center.
And of all people, they're focusing on Chase University. Sure.
There's a scandal going on. Andre Chase is under fire. I can attest that I was in his Twitch stream last Wednesday, and it was a hot button issue as to what was in that file. Why was he so upset that JC Jane picked it up? I told him that he just needs a little bit more bravado to get himself a little bit more over. But no, Shawn Michaels summoned him to his office, and he didn't tell us a lot about what Shawn said, but he did say that Shawn had more than 2 words for him. So he didn't say that.
I have a question for the both of you.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't happen in Canada, but how many people go to universities with paparazzi in the United States? Because that itself just looked a little preposterous to me.
It depends on where and who goes to what school, how much paparazzi is there. I know locally here, well, not locally, but nearby, when Emma Watson decided to go to Brown University, there was a lot of paparazzi outside of Brown University when she decided to start going to school there. When big name stars decide to try to be normal and do normal education, it happens. Remember, this is them showing up to work, not so much to the university. Like, I understand the university is a performance center, but like this is them showing up to work. They're showing up to the arena. So the paparazzi are there for the arena more than they are for the university. By the way, Astrid totally missed last week on the show that was given to us by Andre Chase, again, in his Twitch chat. Make sure you go ahead and check out Chase University on Twitch. They're great. I love Andre. And I still support Andre, by the way. I'm a big supporter of Andre, even right now in the middle of this scandal. I support Andre Chase. But no, it was a point that he wanted to try to divert our attention from the questions about what's going on, with the fact that recently he's come into a sum of money recently, and he revamped the classroom. It's now painted in Carolina blue for him having gone to Duke University and growing up in that neck of the woods. It is got more posters on the wall now. It's got a map. He was very happy about the map on the wall. Things that we apparently missed that weren't in the old classroom that are now in the new classroom. But they apparently got a
guy doesn't have a map in his classroom.
They've got a brand new set for the Chase University stuff. I missed it. Astrid missed it. I had to go back to the segment to rewatch it after Chase told me in his Twitch chat about it. No, it was great. It was great. I enjoyed this whole thing. I love things revolving around Chase University. I've been a big fan of Chase U since it started. And I'm excited to see them getting... Okay, it's dumb, but I like the fact that it's some sort of storyline between the four. Yes, it's dumb. It's fun. It's developmental. It's giving them a chance to do some things. What do you guys think the scandal is going to be? In the comments, wrong answers only. For us, we'll try to... But what do you think the scandal is? In the comments, wrong answers only, please.
You're really asking me that?
Yeah. What did Andre Chase get caught doing? What's on those pictures that Andre Chase got delivered last week?
Based on Shawn Michaels' history, if he's mad at it, it has to be bad. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know, because it's just like, I feel like at the end it's probably gonna be something like funny that we don't think about. So it's like, and then I was thinking of like him owing Tony money, because that would be another thing that I could think about later on. But they have pictures. I don't know what the pictures could be.
So I still think it's revolving around money, and I think it's revolving around gambling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. It's like a whole Pete Rose thing. He was gambling on Chase U matches. I think that's what it's gonna come out to be. It's gonna be something like that. Because remember,
money.
He came into a sum of money. Again, NXT didn't tell us this. Andre told us this. He also told us that it's a long-running story that he doesn't want to spoil. He's like, I can tell you now, but it's going to ruin the longer story. So this isn't just a week or two. It's apparently going to be a long-term story going on. We got Chris Best saying his wrong answer only is Andre Chase got caught bathing in the cafeteria sink. That is definitely the interpretation of wrong answers only.
I can only see it if he did get caught betting on Chase U. I can see a stupid backstage segment where Shawn Michaels is like showing him like the video of him placing the bet, and then all of a sudden you just pan out, you see Pete Rose, you'd be like, betting on what you do, stupid. Fade out.
And Pete Rose would be perfect because he has a history with the WWE over years and years. So like I think it'd be a funny tie-in that would make sense. Because it's something that got Pete in a lot of trouble, and Pete's tried to get over it, and I think he'd be fine making fun of it. And I think it'd be something that you could realistically do nowadays that people wouldn't care about, but it'd be funny. Especially if he's betting with like OTM or the D'Angelos, things like that.
I'm going to add to it, instead of panning out after he says that, it pans out to Glenn Jacobs saying, that's illegal in Knoxville.
No, please don't bring him into this.
What Glenn Jacobs thinks is legal right now.
No, but Pete Rose and Kane. I like
where you're going with it, but we're just
we'll stick to the fade out one that you gave us.
It's either that or he says, see no evil, hear no evil. That would be also funny.
This did lead us into the Chase U versus the D'Angelo family match, which was fun, but I love the overarching theme of this match being that the student section has no more faith in Andre, and they all start walking out. I love this. I think it's so much fun to bring the student section in, to have them have a little bit of a role, and it throws Andre Chase off a couple times where he's getting uber distracted by the kids walking out, by people not cheering for them. I thought it was a fun twist on the Chase U stuff. Giving us something different, letting them kind of test the waters for potential heel Chase U, which we haven't seen before, which I think could be fun.
Yeah, that's true.
Parrish, what do you think of this match?
I mean, I didn't hate it. I mean, for a tag team title match, I thought it was really good. I thought it was a good way to kick off the show. I thought having new champions was the right way because I didn't think that they should have lost their tag titles in the first place. I thought Stacks and D'Angelo had too much momentum going. They're really solid. I mean, again, if we want to touch on people who I think are main roster ready, this is a tandem I think that can go up. But these guys should be the face of the tag team division. Chase U with that scandal thing. They have something else to go off of in terms of being entertaining and other skits. You don't need tag titles around them. So I liked it. So now I'm still intrigued with Andre Chase University, but now I'm also interested in seeing, okay, where do the tag titles and the tag title division go from here?
Yeah, and I'm going to skip a little bit ahead just for a moment as we talk about where the tag. Oh no, we skip too far ahead if we do that. Astrid, I know you didn't get a chance to watch a whole bunch of this match, but what did you think of this tag team match from what you did get to watch?
Yeah, I feel like it's a fun match to really start the show with and get everybody like excited for the show as a whole. And like you said, I keep thinking when I think of like Chase University and the students, I keep thinking of you more than anything, because I remember when we started watching Chase U, we always thought about like, oh look, the area is really small, and we're wondering like how small, and then all of a sudden every single week it started growing and growing, and it's something we always noted during the shows, like how we keep seeing more red shirts in the area. So like now to go from like small to like have a bigger audience to like going like losing a little bit of the audience again, is like we do see those changes here. So I think it's like nice to point out that part of it. But I like the match. I was just expecting like the ending I thought was gonna be was JC helping them and them retaining the title, so that way she could be like, hey, I helped you again, so you retain your titles, but you didn't help me when I was supposed to win my title. And continue on that story between her and Andre in that sort of way. So when they lost, I was shocked in that way. But again, it's just like a good way to shock people and get people talking as it is about the show, especially to the start of the show, because it gets people watching throughout the show. And obviously it's probably going to lead to another rematch at Deadline anyway. So
yeah, I thought it was a convenient way to start the show. And me and Ashford agree with Parrish in a lot of ways about the fact that we didn't think that the D'Angelo family was losing the titles to chase you when they had that match at Halloween Havoc. And we were a bit surprised when that result came about. And I liked how it gave the birth to this storyline, and it gave them a reason. But at the same time, there's more to do with the D'Angelo family. What do we think about the D'Angelo family's new manager, mouthpiece,
I'm so happy.
annoying personality? So the same girl that was there last week, whom I have no clue who the hell she is.
I don't either.
It will show up again later on when we have the tag team segment. I know she didn't come out to the ring with them, but it seems like she's going to be more of a part of this D'Angelo family. And I'll be honest, I don't like her. I don't like the sound of her voice. I don't like her look with the two of them. She doesn't fit. You're gonna hear this again later on with Wish.com. She's a Wish.com version
No, don't.
of Toronto.
No, but it just feel like first I feel like her, like the way she's acting, it feels like she's forcing herself to do it.
Yeah,
It's not like with Tony and Sexy, it's more natural to them, like it fits who they are, and I can see them like even outside of like NXT even doing that. But with her, you can tell she's trying a little bit too hard, and that's how it felt like to me. Like not only backstage, but like with them as as it were later after the match as well. So it's just like it felt like it didn't fit for that moment. So it's like I'm hoping like maybe something she needs maybe to feel more comfortable with them, and they don't have that. They're not a cohesive unit yet, and they have to find that chemistry together between all three of them now, which is what I'm thinking. Like maybe we have to give her time, which I hope she'll improve with time. But even just tonight, it just felt like, I feel like you were trying too much for me, and it's not the first time I see you, so it doesn't like the first time we officially like see her like this with them. So I didn't like it. I definitely have to check out who she is, because I wasn't sure either.
Chris Best saying, to be honest, I even forgot to chase you.
Oh my god! No.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like they just won them. They only had them for 3 weeks, so it's not like they had them for a long time, and that it's obvious that we forgot it. But it is something to remember. Parrish, your thoughts on the new lady talent with the D'Angelo family?
I don't hate the idea of having a female in that group, like to be, but she's. Can I curse here?
Yeah, go ahead.
She's fucking annoying.
And maybe that's the point. Like, if she's annoying me and she's annoying Ashton and she's annoying Parrish, maybe she's supposed to be grating. Maybe she's supposed to be irritating. Maybe that's the point. Remember, Tiffany Stratton started that way too. She was grating and she was irritating, and she learned where she needed to do that and where she needed to tweak it. So maybe it's just a learning curve for this young lady here, whomever she may be, to get over that and to get where we need to go with it. After this, we have Lita and her way too long rambling discussion about the matches for the Iron Survivor. Lita telling us that Shawn Michaels has given her, but like, yes, Lita, we know. Like, Shawn told us 2 weeks ago that this was going to happen.
This is what I would say. Cut it out. Just no.
Yeah,
Don't say too much.
We'll get JBL next week, and it'll be much better. I promise. We do find out that JBL is next week, and the only reason why I'm sad we're getting JBL next week is that we're not going to get Baron Corbin in the Iron Survivor, because I just think it would have been so funny to have it be like Baron Corbin versus like Dante Chen, because I just think that would have been so funny because of the previous relationship between Corbin and JBL. But Lita goes ahead and reveals her matchups of Roxanne Perez and checks notes Lash Legend. This is going to go well. Versus, and then in the men's side, Trick Williams. I love her idea of, well, it had to be, yes, Lita, it did have to be Trick Williams. Like, he had to be in this at some point, so yes, somebody had to pick him. And then she's like, Joe Coffey, and I'm like, why is everybody so high on Joe Coffey all of a sudden? Like, I think Joe Coffey's great, but like, I didn't think he was the perfect matchup for Trick.
Yeah, that one it didn't fit.
For Trick.
No.
Barry Monkey does come in with an interesting comment of, do you think Lita even has a clue who any of them are? I think the only one she knows about is Roxanne.
Agreed.
I guarantee you she knows who Roxanne is because of the fact that Roxanne was such a big fan of hers, and Sean would have made sure to make sure she knows who she is. She probably knows who Trick William is, maybe. Other than that, no. She was told to say nice things about anybody who thinks Lash Legends is this close to being a star. Obviously has no clue who Lash Legend is. You have Bobby Munson coming in, and we're going to cut a little bit of Parrish off here by the longer comment. Soon the science will not only be able to slow down the aging of the cells, soon the science will fix the cells to the state so that they will become eternal. Only accidents, crimes, wars will still kill us, but unfortunately crimes, wars will multiply. I love wrestling. Thank you.
I thought that was like a bot writing all that.
He apparently went to ChatGPT for something. I don't know. But we do love wrestling.
And he spelt everything right too. That's impressive, Bobby. Good job.
It's everything right. We got this best thing. I've been high on coffee for years, but this match was just okay in my opinion. Yeah, the match was just. We'll get to that in just a second, though. He says it's a famous quote. Look it up. It's not. I mean, just to steal a thing from Australian TV.
Yeah, he says the Chip Buddy's good. Don't believe him on that, man. No.
We go to commercial break after Lita tells us her matches, and then we get Corbin running into Dominic Mysterio. And this was great. I love this little mutual appreciation villain society. He's like, hey, good job last night with the Judgment Day on Raw, keeping the tag titles. You guys are looking strong. It's great. They make fun of Wesley a little bit, yada, yada, yada. Bad guys like bad guys. It's fun. Nothing important happens, but it's just fun to see these two on screen. Like, I could like to see more of these two. I thought they were really good together. Parrish, but this is it. It says the guy who eats McCain freezer cakes for dinner.
Okay, a lot of fat guys do that, Bobby. A lot of them. Like, a lot of us do that. All right? Back off. At least they sell those in the supermarket.
We then get the Supernova sessions with Alpha Academy, where Supernova session side has the lavish lifestyle. They have the cup locked down, but they don't have the locking and like the steel chains on the table. They just have it on the big glass thing. You rip the glass thing, you can just take the cup, but it's no Amdar, so it's stupid because it's supposed to be. And this is just great. Everybody gets their shit in. But, Astrid, you've told me not to say this. I'm going to say it anyways.
I disagree, okay? I'm just letting everybody know. This is my little notes. And I said not to say it on stream. Go ahead, sir.
I was listening to this segment, and for a moment, I closed my eyes while the Supernova Sessions team Metaphor was talking. And I swear I heard Sasha Banks talking. And I opened my eyes to see Wish.com's version of Sasha Banks, Jakara Jackson. I swear, she is the Wish.com version of Sasha Banks. If you close your eyes, you can't tell the difference between the two of them. See? I'm not wrong. Chris Best says...
Why are you helping him? I don't need that. No.
She has the same tone. She has the same gritty attitude. She has the same annoyance factor. She can't cut a promo. Like, it's all there. She's just a Wish.com version. She's got the stupid glasses. She's got the colored hair. It's all Sasha.
Oh, gosh.
Anyways, continue.
No. There's no.
I mean, I'm excited for Chad Gable and Noam Dar. That's going to be good.
How he just skips to the end of this promo. He's like, I like the idea of Chad Gable versus Noam Dar.
Good job, Pierre. Just skip to the end.
But also, like, how funny was Otis just absolutely like using the hits the entire time too? Like, Otis
oh my god,
an
it was
gem.
so great to see him almost make Lash Legend 2 when he was hitting on Lash Legend. Otis, get some glasses, man. You've gone from Mandy Rose to Maxine. And by the way, Maxine's nice. Like, good job, Otis.
It's
You lost Mandy, but at least you were going towards Maxine, and that's good. And then you went to Lash Legend, and Otis, Otis, you can borrow my glasses. Oh, now people can see how blind I am. Look at that. Anyway, Otis tries to hit on Lash Legend. Everybody in Metaphor is very upset. And then Gable starts teasing that he has a challenger for Noam Dar for his cup. And they make it seem like it's going to be Otis. And they're all like, that's fine, no big deal, whatever, it's Otis. And then Maxine starts raffling off all of his accomplishments. And it's like an NXT Tag Team Champion, a Raw Tag Team Champion, a SmackDown Tag Team Champion. And Noam's like, no, it's okay. I'll fight Otis. Find out it's Chad Gable.
Thank you, Bobby, for the idea.
Buy me a Wish.com gift card so I can buy Jakara Jackson, the Wish.com Sasha Banks. It was an okay segment. Like I said, the biggest note for me was that we're going to get a great Heritage Cup match next week between Chad Gable and Noam Dar, and that Jakara Jackson now has a role.
Does anybody else believe that Noam Dar is full of crap when he said those shoes were $1,000? Like, really? Those look like Skechers, bro.
It's Noam Dar. Everything he says is a lie. So of course
that guy wore a chessboard on his shorts today. Like, what does he know about fashion?
No. He has no idea about that. We then move this segment right into Lash Legend versus Roxanne Perez. And Astrid, you were the expert on women's wrestling, so I'm going to let you go ahead and have the big screen for a moment.
No big screen. No.
Big screen? Okay.
No.
Talk about the greatness that was Lash Legend versus Roxanne Perez.
And this is when I go, it was a match and it happened. I think it was a match. I'm going to try to erase it from my mind somehow. Why? Why did this happen? I'm like,
because
I don't have
it to happen.
I didn't even have words. All I heard the bell and I said, "There's no freaking way that was a 3. Please tell me that was not a 3." I legit wrote back to adding in caps. What the heck was that? What the heck did I just watch? I cannot unwatch it. I feel like I'm gonna have nightmares tonight. I don't need help already. No, the big no. How do you have Iron Survivor with Lash Legend in it? I'm definitely not sold at this point.
Parrish?
Is this not like a guarantee that all Roxanne Perez is doing from here on out until the Rumble or whenever she gets called up, she's just going to put over people and then she's going up to the main roster? Because in what reality does Lash Legend equal ratings? It's like, if you wanted somebody that bad in a match, why did you release Dana Brooke then?
Clearly, Lash Legend is being wasted in the minor leagues. Call her up to the main event already, says Video World of Munson. Doesn't have to watch her wrestle. No, this I'll say
about her on Access Sunday.
This was Lash Legend's best match. That being said, that's a very low bar to overcome. Barry Monkey says Lash Legend isn't terrible. That's fine. Barry, I have a trade for you then. You guys get Lash Legend on Impact, and I'll take Alicia Edwards. Because I'd rather watch Alicia Edwards have a wrestling match than Lash Legend. And that's saying something, because Impact thinks so little of Alicia Edwards that they had Frankie Kazarian put himself through a table so she didn't have to do it.
I can defend that one.
He's such a good guy.
Is the epitome. This is the epitome of a bad decision. Like, I get people want Lash Legend push. Believe it or not, I've seen it on the internet. People do want Lash Legend pushed. I don't know why, but they do. When this match was announced, I was looking through the comments, and people that Astrid has told me know things about women's wrestling are talking about how Lash Legend is good and how she needs this push and she needs to be pushed. I don't see it.
I mean, I know this brought up two conversations. Like, I mean, they're related but not related at the same time. Right. The first one is like somebody like Roxanne. It becomes at a point that you see them in there. She's accomplished so much in NXT already that it's just kind of like Braun Breaker at this point. She has no place in NXT. And I'm saying it like as somebody that likes Roxanne. She shouldn't be in NXT right now because I feel like she's getting lost with the girls that are newer. And we end up in a situation like this one tonight when she shouldn't be here in the first place. I feel like she should be already like in the main roster somehow, involved in something bigger than this because she's already done it and she's already won it. So it was like, she doesn't need this right now. But it also brought up the point of like, yeah, I like people like Lash getting the opportunity, but at the same time, this is one of those matches like she has barely wrestled, so we really see that she doesn't have a lot of experience. So how are you gonna have a match like this one, who's a big match, obviously, because people are gonna have eyes on it, being Irish Survivor, and it's a title shot on the line. How are you gonna have of all people Legend involved when you still have so many other women that if you kind of rank them, but are higher in the rankings than Lash Legend? It just that didn't make sense to me at all in that sense of it. And when I saw that, I was like, "There's no freaking way." I was like, I understand the part of the story of having Jakara like distracting and helping Lash, of course. But I figured by the time the Metaphor got kicked out, then that's when Roxanne would have won because I figured it was even at that point. And then having Kiana involved, and there was the part that I went, oh no, I don't like this now, which I suppose is probably gonna end up with her and Kiana having that one-on-one match. I don't know if it'll be for Deadline or before. It'll probably be before Deadline most likely because of the how short the card is for NXT. But it just brought up, I think, important conversations of like there are certain people like I said, like a Braun Breaker or Roxanne that I feel like at this point they have accomplished so much as it is in NXT. I don't see them having a point within the roster right now.
I think that the difference between Roxanne Perez and Braun Breaker is significant. Braun Breaker still has people that he can help put over. He can do things to continue being him that he can easily win against without ruining the division. He can have good matches, big matches, and you can kind of set people up for him and have him teeter-totter and then lose feuds, but still feel like a big deal. Whereas Roxanne Perez is stuck with this women's division who is growing better and better every day. They're bringing in more talent. They're pushing more talent. In as much as I didn't like the decisions that they made with the talent that they had, in the women's breakout tournament, we saw people getting TV time and getting an opportunity that were coming up from Level Up that may not have been ready, but they're coming and they're going to get ready and they're going to be there. We made two semi-stars in Kalani Jordan and Lola Vice. I say semi-stars because I don't think either one of them are really ready for the big time yet, but I like the idea that they're getting a big push. They're having something devoted for them where they were the focal point of what was being done in that women's breakout tournament. Later on tonight, we're going to see Ariana Grace getting a showcase to be able to show off who she is. We're still pushing Gigi Dolan. We're still pushing Kiana James, who's been being pushed for the last year and a half in a positive way, mind you. She's getting better and better. She's gone from fake Taryn from accounting into an actual competent wrestler who can have talented wrestling matches. That segment with her backstage tonight was fantastic. She did such a good job holding up that segment for the little bit that she was a part of it. This division, this NXT Women's Division, it's not top heavy in stars, but there are a bunch of people that are getting ready to be on the cusp of being ready to be stars. They're ready for that TV time. They're ready for those extended pushes. Roxanne Perez is kind of in the way. Unlike Braun Breaker, where you can keep him out of the way and you can still push Trick Williams, Baron Corbin, Dominic Mysterio, Wes Lee. You can still push all of these stars. Von Wagner, Love it or hate it, they're pushing Von Wagner, and Braun Breaker isn't getting in the way of that. He's enhanced it. I mean, barely, but they're trying to use Braun Breaker to enhance the Von Wagner stuff. He has a purpose. Now, it's not a great purpose, and I'd much rather see him on the main roster. But I there are still things I think he can do. There are still people I think he can put over. Whereas Roxanne Perez, the best is yet to come, and you don't want to waste what you have with her while she's ready. You've got her in her prime. You've got her young. You've got her ready. Let's get her up there and have her learn how to go from having NXT 4-star matches to having Meltzer 5-star matches to having Meltzer 4-star matches.
Nobody cares about Meltzer's 5 stars.
No, but
he doesn't give Kurt Angle one. He ain't gonna give Roxanne Perez one.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? To give her the ability to go up to the main roster and have legitimate history-making matches. She has the potential to be in the ranks on her opening night. She can go out there with a Charlotte. She can go out there with a Becky. She can go out there with a Bayley, hold her own and not have to be carried through a match. I love Tiffany Stratton. She worked her ass off to be ready for Becky. That being said, Becky did a lot of heavy lifting in that feud to make sure that Tiffany Stratton got to put on the show that Tiffany Stratton got to put on. I don't think that's the case when it comes to Roxanne Perez. I think she's ready, and we saw that with Asuka. When Asuka came down, it was two people who felt like they were at the same level.
Yeah, I think also brings up another conversation too with Roxanne, because I feel like at this point, because she's done so much in so little time, it just feels like the crowd is also turning against her. Because if you kind of like compare it to like a Tiffany who started from, let's say, nothing and knowing nothing and, you know, going all the way up the ranks, versus with Roxanne, she started and she was already up in like towards the title picture and getting all these opportunities, you know, left and right, that I feel like now people are just turning on her because they're like, you know, you've got everything to, like, given to you at this point, versus there's other girls like a Tiffany who obviously just, they were starting off, and there's other ones that are learning that could get those opportunities too. So I feel like that's why I've been kind of noticing like the crowd turning and just like booing her little by little, and she keeps getting mixed reactions because they're like, you already been involved in this title picture, like skedaddle, leave somebody else to do it this point around. So that's why it's another thing I've been noticing with her as well. Just at a point of like people like, you already done it, you know, give somebody else that chance to do it. And I kind of, you know, I kind of get it in that aspect because she, you know, she's skyrocketed since she got to NXT, versus there's other girls that have been in the, you know, the background as that was happening, versus now they could get that opportunity to do it.
Parrish, you've been in the ring. You watch Monday Night on a weekly basis over here on our local establishment on the Monday Night Raw watch along. What do you think about this? Is there a point where NXT is holding these people back, or are these people holding NXT back in any way, shape, or form?
For Roxanne Perez, no. And this is why, because I think that one of the bigger reasons why people are like maybe pushing away from her right now is because she's not doing anything of value. All she's doing is being put into one-offs. Put her in a feud. Put her in something where it's meaningful. Let's care about who she is. Have somebody from the main roster, like maybe a good villain or somebody like that. And a name that comes to mind, bring a heel Shayna Baszler down. Have her beat up her. Have Roxanne try to do that. And then on to that point, maybe they're even looking at the Cora Jade route and saying, hey, maybe we've done enough in this way of Roxanne to maybe we got to make her more arguably say that might just make sense but outside of that, like giving her a little bit of an attitude, like look at what it did for Thea Hale. Like just a little bit of an attitude gets you to look at her a different way. And I think maybe that's something you need Roxanne Perez to have, is just having that. I think, too, we need Booker T to also shut up about when it comes to her, because that's not helping her. He is so annoying he's like Ric Flair annoying when it comes to Roxanne Perez. To the point where maybe even Roxanne has to tell him to shut up and smack him over the face. That would give me a little bit more attitude with Roxanne that I can get behind. And I think that's what the fans want. A little bit more attitude from her.
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of that. I can see a lot of what you have to say. Another thing I would say is on the lines of Booker T being annoying. I mentioned it to Astrid. In the first match with the tag team title match, Booker T was like, you got to do everything to win. Like, if Chase U has to cheat, Chase U has to cheat by any means necessary. In the second match, when Metaphor is getting involved, I'm not, Vic, you know me. I'm not here for this underhanded stuff. What the fuck, Booker? Like, you spent the entire first match telling us that that Andre Chase needs to let JC Jane cheat for him so he can keep winning. And now you're telling us because Metaphor's cheating against Roxanne Perez that that's wrong and awful. Come on, Booker. Get your head out of your ass. By the way, this isn't the only time Booker T was really annoying on this show, and I have mentions of it. But yes, as Barry Munson.
Really? You don't say.
Yeah. No. It's a weekly segment on the show. Booker T is annoying about everything. He really is. He really, really is. I love when he was talking about Ariana Grace, and he talked about his wife, Charmel, that she won Miss America. She competed in. She did not win Miss America, Booker. She competed in.
Total offset, but congrats to Montez Ford, by the way. That guy won his competition for bodybuilding yesterday, or like the other day.
Something nice to talk about after. By the way, I do love how none of us decided to talk about the match that we saw, and we just decided to have the side conversation about whether or not Roxanne's being wasted or wasting time in NXT.
Here's a positive criticism, though. Because I look at Charlotte when I watch Charlotte, and I'm like, okay, she is really big and athletic, but sometimes her timing doesn't it's not nice to that. And I feel the same way when I see Lash Legend. She can do a moonsault. She can do a handspring. She is athletic. But the timing of when she does it is floppy. Somewhat sloppy. She has to work on that because she does have some skills in the ring. Mm-hmm. But you can tell that there's always something that messes it up. And I think that's where her element of her game needs to work. When you put a microphone in her hands, there is no amount of beer that can make me care. However, if she's quiet and she just works hard and rests, kind of like you're saying with Tiffany Stratton, just shut up and work. I think she can do a little bit more. In terms of Roxanne Perez, again, she carried that match. You can tell she's the workhorse in that match. Mm-hmm. We know how good she is in the ring. But now I want something to care about her because there's nothing in this NXT run in the last 7 months that's made me care about her as a talent in NXT. And that's why you're getting a lot of just bump her up already.
Yeah, I think we've definitely talked about this as much as we can. Astrid, something I want to do. We're going to do a Taking Over Extra this week. We're going to record something, and it's going to be we're going to do it. It's going to be sometime this week. We're going to record a tier list for the NXT Women's Division.
Oh gosh!
For the NXT Women's Division, that will air as its own little mini episode sometime either over the weekend or next week. So stay tuned for that, people. Me and Ashley will record that later on this week. We then get a backstage segment with all the tag teams standing in a row.
Your favorite tag teams out of the way.
What's that?
Your favorite tag teams too.
Oh yeah, all my favorites. I was so happy.
I knew you were happy when you saw this.
We had JBBJ. We had Hank Tank. We had Team BB.
See, your favorites. I told you.
We had Axiom
Hank and Tank.
Who was it? It was Axiom and Nathan, right?
Yeah,
With the other
my
two?
favorites there.
The oddball sitting like
Wait.
on the outside, mentioning other things.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
in walk the Garzas, who are trying to lay claim to the number one contenders for themselves. And then the tag team champions walk in with, as I've been proven by my backstage reporter, Ashley Pizarro, Anna Kiefer is the girl who's working with Tony D'Angelo and Stax. Good job, Astrid, on that.
Why?
Research.
Why? Why that last name? Why?
That's
Yeah, that
just
was
Oh.
pronounce it right. Keefer.
Oh. Oh no. I don't doubt you. I just so many jokes I can make about it.
Yeah, we're not going to
no,
make any of those.
no.
I'm not going there. I'm just like of all the names though to give her. Really,
No.
that
So-
screams their gimmick.
I think that's her real name though. Not even.
I don't think that's her gimmick name. I think that's
Yeah.
her actual name.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
That's
her
so bad.
born in. Anyway, team Malik Blade and Indra Shinofe think that they deserve the next shot. Hank Tank thinks that they want to be 3-time champions, to which Hank reminds Tank that to be 3-time champions they have to win once. And Tank just apparently means that he wants to get their thing going and start doing good things. And oh my god, this was a train wreck of a fucking segment. I think we're getting the Garzas versus Malik Blade and Indra Shinofe next week based on this. I think. But God, none of this segment worked for me. None of it. Not Tony D'Angelo and Stax, not Hank Tank, not Nathan Frazier and Axiom not giving a shit about tag team wrestling and wanting to talk about the Heritage Cup. Nothing. Nothing about this segment worked. Also, hi Dara. Anybody have any other opinions of this segment other than it sucked?
Well, I mean, I could see like a tag team turmoil match coming. I mean, that would actually make sense.
Yeah, but didn't we
You
do a battle royal with the tag teams like 3 weeks ago?
Yes, sir. So
Yeah, but then why are you doing a segment with like 4 tag teams or 5 tag teams?
Because NXT
Also-
has no idea what to do with the tag team division. And they want us
Tag team turmoil.
They also want us to remember that these dumbasses actually exist, with the exception.
hey, wait! Axiom and Nathan are in the corner. You know, be careful there. Be careful with your words. And
The
the Garzas
dumbass-
are there too. Aside from that,
dumbass-
everybody else is dumbass.
Well, you know what? NXT shouldn't have had him in the room with all the dumbasses.
And they
No.
didn't even want to be there, it seemed. Like I said, they were talking about the Heritage Cup, and they're like, tag goal.
Dar Amazing says, make a new tag team championship. No, we have one. It's fine. It's fine. We then
Does
get
anybody else think like Los Lotharios could be the perfect pairing for Santos as a heel tag to pair with them, though?
Yeah, but I like the idea of at least using the Garzas down here before we send them back up there. Remember, Santos already has a meaningless tag team in his group. It's called, what is it? Cruz and Del Toro, right?
Cruz Del Toro is one
Always-
person.
What
It's
was their old
Walking
name?
Wild and Cruz Del Toro.
Cruz del Toro.
No, I know, but they had a tag team name, all three of them, before they got
Legado
paired
del
with
Fantasma.
Electra Lopez.
Let's just look at
Legato, what are you talking about?
Legado del Fantasma. That's it.
Legado del
Wait, wait,
Fantasma. Yeah.
I thought you were thinking of something else. I was like,
No,
it's
no,
Legato.
they
What
had
else
a
is
group
there?
name. What the hell was their group name?
Legado del Fantasma.
All right, we had a social media clip.
LDF.
We had a social media clip with Lyra
Yeah.
Valkyria getting some training from Robbie Brookside and Johnny Moss. For those who don't remember Johnny Moss was, for me, most known for his time in WCPW. He's apparently traveled around most of the indies in Britain, including Progress, including Rev Pro, all kinds of places like that. Looks like he's signed on as a coach, potentially a coach talent in NXT. That'll be fun. And then Lyra gets a notification on her phone, which is apparently being casted to the television, that she's invited to a Warriors tea ceremony. Oh, the tea party.
Hey, they're a good Canadian band, by the way. A really good Canadian band. But
Anyway.
I want to know, why is Apple TV being represented on NXT tonight?
Was that Apple TV? I don't know. There was a lot of Apple stuff tonight because Joe Gacy threw a phone and it smashed into 1,000 pieces, so it was obviously an Apple. But anyways, we then get the tea party where Lyra Valkyria shows up dressed in her normal clothes, and she's asked to don the ceremonial outfit, which she kind of sort of puts on, but doesn't really put on. And here's the thing. This would have been an okay segment if Lyra gave half a shit about what she was supposed to be doing here. Ironically, after this segment, Lyra feels like the heel and Xia feels like the babyface. Because Xia Li's like, come here. And she like does like a bow and she like does a deep bow. And then Lyra kind of half-asses it. And she's like, no, a deep bow means deep respect. And she's like, well, I don't expect respect from you. And like, the fuck are you doing here then? Why are you being a bitch to her? She brought you into her culture. Be nice to Xia.
To be fair, it's not like she just didn't bull rush somebody a week ago on Raw. Cost her a chance at a battle royal.
Lyra. She didn't attack
You can't trust that.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't know though.
And then, and I'm glad Barry Monkey's here. And Barry Monkey says this tea ceremony segment could have been much quicker if they used tea bags. You know, you say that, but when she poured the tea, after she poured the tea leaves into the teapot and poured the water in, it was just colored water. Like, it was barely not water. Like, it didn't steep. It didn't have time to develop. It did nothing. Like,
Well, look at the tea expert. I'm kidding.
you know what this segment reminded me of?
Okay, please say, because I'm thinking about it. Say it.
Is it the Boston Tea Party?
No. It's the segment with Io and Zoe, the wasabi and everything else. It reminded me of that. It was so cringe that it was like that. And at the end, the baby face feels like the heel, and the heel feels like the baby face.
Yes.
Because she respected nothing. Like, Xia Li's doing this traditional, supposedly like Chinese, Japanese style tea, like warrior tea ceremony that's supposed to be like, before we go to battle, we show respect and we do this nice thing. And Lyra's like, fuck you, I care nothing about your culture. And I'm just like, you're the baby.
I thought the same thing though. I was like, this just reminds me of that Zoe Io, like, was it the sushi, the worst segment in NXT history, and this is the second one right after now.
Yeah, it's just it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to like Lyra, but like things like this, like, you've got to be careful with your baby. There's being a baby face and not giving a shit. And then there's being a babyface and just being disrespectful. And Lyra was disrespectful for no reason in this segment. Like, as the babyface, she should have played along. And the ironic thing is, Xia was really nice in this whole segment. Like, yes, she said that she was going to beat you up. She says that you're as weak as tea leaves. But, like, she didn't actively do anything nasty. She didn't actively attack you. She did nothing but try to bring you into her culture, and you basically pissed in her teapot.
That's what I hated, though.
The tea that came out of the teapot.
That's what I hated. Like, Xia Li did nothing of being a heel in that. And I think that's what I personally hated about that. She's she's being represented as this killer on Raw. And then you put her in NXT and she's like, hey, I'm like the sweetest little girl from Japan. Where is she from?
Thing. Like, because the whole time she's talking about, like, you know, like warring families and warring factions would come together. for one time, and they would have tea to show respect to each other before they go to war. And so, like, it's still a heel thing, but she's bringing you into her culture. And like I said, Lyra just pissed in her teapot.
Make it look like there's something suspicious about the tea she's giving you. Have Lyra think maybe she's trying to poison you with it or something. Do something to the point where at least when Lyra says she doesn't want it, it's no. But at the same time, I don't know, to me, I wanted to see a little bit what Shinsuke's doing. I wanted a little bit of that calm assassin, but also a little bit of yeah, drink it. Come on. You know you want to. Respect my culture. Come on. Do it. Go. Want something like that. A little bit of like
I said, I think that's where this segment it doesn't land in any way. It doesn't make Zaya feel like a badass. It makes her feel, I feel bad for her, so now I want her to win. Makes Lyra feel like it makes Lyra feel like just a bad person because she's disrespecting a culture, which again is fine, but she's supposed to be the baby face, so that's a bit of a problem. All in all, it does nothing for nobody. That being said,
I think that it does nothing for nobody is what the most agreeable part of the segment.
Yeah. We then have Trick Mello, who seem to be on the same page, as Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams are sort of getting along. Trick has seemingly forgiven Carmelo, and Carmelo still keeps looking out of the corner of his eye to make sure that Trick believes him that he didn't attack him. I thought this was good. I like this. I like the idea of bringing Carmelo back in, Trick being the silly baby face who believes his friend is still his friend when we know his friend is not his friend. And I love Carmelo still sticking to his guns. I didn't do it. You see, I love the line. In the lie detector determined I was telling the truth. Mackenzie's first words. What lie detector? She literally calls him out on his bullshit. Right in there. I love that. You're continuing to put in our face that we all know Carmelo did this. Regardless if Trick believes it or not, we all know Carmelo did it.
Okay, pretty much.
But on that though, when he called him out on it, I would have probably rather seen Trick called him out on it. Because if Trick doesn't call him out on it, it seems like Trick believes it.
And that's the
now,
point.
If you want it, I know, but if you wanted to go that, at the very least, give me I knew about it, or I wanted an actual confirmation that he knew about a lie detector, or he knew about it just seemed very weird that we're all talking about a fake lie detector. We're calling Carmelo out on it, but then Trick is no, it's real. Well, then if he thinks it's real, why should we question?
I think the lie detector, it was just the line. It's like the whole Maury Povich. The lie detector determined that was a lie kind of thing. It's like a meme. He's basically just being we talked about it. We're good. Trick believes me, and I didn't do it because Trick believes me that I didn't do it. But I did it, but Trick believes me that I didn't do it. Like I said, I thought this was great. I thought it did exactly what it needed to do. It brings Trick Mello together to only push them further apart. It's going to be, and it'll continue later on in the match. We hear Gallus's music play as the interview ends, and Trick's "Oh, it's my time to go," and he starts walking away, and Carmelo still gives him side eye as he starts walking away. It's fantastic. We get Kiana James backstage taking credit for the fact that Roxanne will not be in the Iron Spiral. And it seemed like the entire ladies' locker room was there. There were so many generic people that I didn't even know who the hell they were. But we get some of the women arguing. I think it was Jada Parker was throwing shade at Gigi Dolan. And then Carmen tried to get involved, and Ariana told her to shut up because of what happened last week. And I like how that thing's still going on. And then Gigi got up in Ariana's face, and that set up the match for tonight. And I was like, this is good. like it's introducing us to women. It would have been nice if they put like a little name tag on them so I know who the fuck they were, because that'd be helpful. But no,
it's like you want the graphic of the name like they do on like Madden or something. Like, okay, like
yeah,
this
like a
person
little arrow above their head.
What are you trying to do, Sims?
just get a little.
Like, even if the girls just have like a name tag on their shirt or something, like my name, generic blonde number 5 or whatever it is.
Gosh.
We then go to commercial break, and when we come back, Braun Breaker says that he hurts people and that he has no remorse for last week. And Dijak comes up, and they start going back and forth. And Dijak's like, "I hope you are in the Iron Survivor." And Braun's like, You don't want me. Nobody wants me in the Iron Survivor." Dijak's like, "Yeah, I do. I want you in that Iron Survivor." And then Braun says something stupid, and then goes, "You'll get retribution," and walks away. And I'm like, "Fuck." Why do we bring up retribution? Have you not seen Dijak on Twitter? He doesn't like that word. We don't talk about that.
Yeah, but again, like
name from the stupid movie. What's the
that was
Disney
actually
movie?
I thought was
Name? Astrid.
What does the
Movie,
yeah?
the movie. The movie. We don't talk about Bruno. That's the one. Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno.
Encanto.
About retribution around Dijak.
It's Encanto.
That's the one. Yes, that's the movie.
that was actually my favorite line. Like, I don't really credit Braun a lot for his mic skills, but I actually thought that line was clever because he's like, if I was, that was the only thing. I didn't like the phrase, if I got in. He should be more confident saying, when I'm in. It's like, oh, like, you know, like, but he said, if I'm in the Iron Survivor, I'm going to make you wish you had retribution or something like along that line.
But it's not about confidence. About like he doesn't know if he's gonna get picked for the qualifying matches because the Hall of Famers are picking them. So if it would have been like he knows for sure he'll be on it, then I would have been like, if like let's say if it would have been JBO picking them already ahead of time, then he probably would have been like, yeah, when I go against you because JBO already picked him, but he doesn't know yet. So I understand why he said that, but I did like the clever part because the way he said, "I will have you begging for retribution," and I love how the camera just goes to Dijak's face and didn't even look at Braun. And I was like, that was like perfect timing. I loved it.
It's a great line to piss a guy off, and I love it because it's like, hey, look, we have no beef, but here's a little.
Here's a word that will trigger you: retribution.
So, by the way, we now know Braun Breaker is going to be in the Iron Survivor match. So, good job, NXT, for telling us that Braun Breaker's in the Iron Survivor. We then get Trick William versus Iron Joe Coffey. This was a fun match. Barry Monkey agrees with you guys and disagrees with me that he liked it. I just feel bad for Dijak. We got to stop bringing up retribution. Like it's traumatizing to this guy, like May 15th was to Kane. It's a traumatizing thing. You don't need to keep bringing it up.
Hey, we still bring up Stardust to Cody. Get over it. It's on you to overpower it.
Was that at May 19th, though?
It might have been. I don't know. It was May. I don't give a shit. It was a shitty movie and it was a shitty storyline, but it was what it was.
I know.
Astrid, talk to us about Iron Joe versus Trick Williams.
No, I really like the back and forth they have between these two. And it's like one thing that we expected, having that Joe has Gallus on his side and then Trick has Carmelo on his side. We do see Gallus being involved in here and helping Joe in certain ways as well. But we also have Carmelo helping, but also being in the way of Trick Williams, which goes into further the storyline of what they have going on between them and that friction. Because just when you think he's like stopped like helping him, there was a moment that I think I know that Trick kind of went outside. I think he did like a dive towards the outside, and the way Carmelo did it, he kind of like stopped him in the way, and Joe came on to exactly dive onto Trick. And I feel like Carmelo was kind of holding him in place. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but it made me think of the storyline as well. But yeah, definitely a fun match. It just from the beginning, I was really hoping that Trick will be the winner, and I'm glad he did win. Go Trick.
Parrish, what did you think about the in-ring work? We've had people talk about, the improvement with Trick Williams' in-ring work. As an in-ring talent, what do you think about Trick Williams and the progress he's made being Carmelo's lackey to being seemingly the biggest rising star in NXT at the moment right now?
I think he's doing everything a lot of people are expecting an Angelo Dawkins to do. And I think that's a really good comparison, to be quite honest. Not just because I said it, but because I actually do believe it. But no, I think he's doing very well. And I rather see him go this route than, oh, well, Carmelo's had a title for a while. Let's put him in a tag. I'd rather them push these guys as singles. Whether or not they're going to feud with each other, whether or not they're going to stay together, remains to be seen. But the fact that they get to actually go about it on their own accord, I think, is very key to both people's success, because Carmelo Hayes is probably going to go up to the main roster. Trick Williams may not, so he needs this. This is so important to his longevity right now because he may not always be tied to Carmelo Hayes. But in terms of his in-work, he's getting crisper, but he still needs to slow it down. You still see a little bit of sloppiness in some of the stuff. That neck break, I'm going to go to a spot where he did a neck breaker on Coffee, and I like it. Like, I like the spot, but the only thing I would have turned is they did 2 transitions within a matter of 5 seconds. Instead, they could have simplified that a little bit more. Instead of Trick hitting Coffee with something and then Coffee thrown him and stun gun him off the ropes, Trick could have got hit, backed up, Coffee comes in, he does that into the neck breaker, and it makes him look a little bit smarter. And I think those are little things he still needs to have. But in terms of like his in-ring work, he is somebody that if I was him, I don't know why he's still not pissed about losing the North American title so quickly. I think I want to see a little bit more of that. I want to see a little bit more still from him. Yeah, there's that personal thing with Carmelo, but if I'm him, I still feel robbed from having to go. I never got that rematch for the title that I had for like a few days. Like, I want to see that. It's not pettiness, but I want to see that, like, look, if you're not going to give it to me, like, I have to do something about it, kind of a deal. But I think this is good for him. And I think he should win Iron Survivor. I really do.
I think that the reason why I think you can get away with not having him angry about the loss of the North American Championship is that he was immediately pushed right into the World Championship. Mm-hmm. What was supposed to be a fatal 4-way number 1 contenders match. It ended up being the triple threat because he got attacked. But it was like the week after he lost the title. The next week, he's going to be in a position to be on the world title. So he didn't have to worry about losing his North American Championship because he was going for the bigger prize. He was going to get that opportunity because Cody gave it to him. To get that opportunity to something bigger. I thought this was a really good match. I liked the one thing we didn't talk about is I love the segment where the spot where Carmelo's trying to pull Wolfgang and Carmelo's little AB guy compared to big Wolfgang, and he can't quite get him off. And then all of a sudden he finally gets him off. His Trick's coming to go ahead and get him. And it dumps Trick to the outside to go into what Asher was talking about how Carmelo kind of just holds Trick in place, and then at the last moment dives away. And where Trick in the past would have pushed Melo and taken the shot, Melo doesn't want to take that shot for Trick. He leaves Trick to get nailed, and he gets out of the way to save himself. And I think that's more this selfish Carmelo Hayes, who's still not ready to give the ball to Trick Williams. He's still LeBron James in this scenario. He's not willing to give the ball. He just wants to keep shooting his own shot. And hell with Trick as long as Trick's on his side.
There's 2 things I do want to touch about that one spot, because I do think this is something that I think NXT is a victim of doing time and time again, is that it seems like there's cues that they know, and when I say they, I mean the performers know are coming, and I know the camera knows they're coming, but sometimes they make it look a little bit obvious, and that was one of them. As Astrid pointed out, they held that on for a while, and then it hit. It was just a little long. This is where you need to cut to like a different camera and then back to something like that. But also, the one thing I kind of liked, it was a sad attempt, but it was an attempt. Vic Joseph actually said, well, if Carmelo Hayes actually made any contact with Coffee, he Trick Williams would have been disqualified. That's actually not technically right. Is you have to be physical first. Like you have to be on the offensive physicality. If Coffee hit Carmelo, match still goes on. Carmelo would have to hit Coffee for that to be a disqualification. But I still like the attempt Vic Joseph did, which is a lot better than Booker T's attempt of doing nothing instead of, I don't know what he was doing on the Trick Williams entrance, but holy crap, that was weird.
You've not heard that yet? Have you? You've not?
Oh no, I
that?
heard it.
Oh.
I heard it, but when I have headphones watching it and it's more blown because these like echo outside noise that when I hear Booker T talk, I can care more about like my cat trying to like get in trouble or my baby cry. Like that's way more soothing than Booker T going, yeah, what? Like nobody cares, Booker. Shut up. Just want to see Trick Williams, but like. At least I give props to Vic Joseph trying on this one.
Yeah, Vic's great. I think Vic's done a lot more good than he does bad. I think more often than not, he's on top of his game. We get Ilya Dragunov popping out to chat with Wesley. Nothing really gets said here other than Wesley makes it known that he's not going for the World Championship and he's settling for the North American Championship, which is weird considering the match that, as Dragunov pointed out, the match that sent him over the edge so he walked away was against Dragunov. So you figured he'd want Dragunov now that he's the world champion. So that was a bit weird.
You know, one thing that I actually do want to see, though, like we see a lot of like personal things come to fruition on screen. Now that Wesley and Gigi Dolan are baby faces, I would like them to kind of at least try to look out for each other a little bit more, especially given that Wesley's former partner is now going to be the future partner to Gigi Dolan. But there's a natural and organic friendship. I wouldn't mind them at least having that on screen.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on from that. We get a backstage segment here between Baron Corbin and Lexis King. And, okay, so Astrid, me and you thought Lexis King did a really good job last week. And then we went to Twitter to find everybody shitting on that segment and how Lexis King did. I'm like, why are they all angry? Lexis King did really good last week.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
He did good. This week, he's in there with Baron Corbin. And this is Baron's first words out of his mouth. He's talking to him, and he's like, you know, you did a really good job attacking Trick. I'm surprised you're able to do that without nobody knowing it was you, and you got away with it all. And Lexis talks about all this in vague terms. Like, he never really says he did it. He's just like, oh, yeah, isn't it great? And he's like, well, how'd you do it and not get caught? And he's like, well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? And he never admits to doing it. And I guarantee it's going to come out that he didn't do it, but he's going to make everybody else thanking him and say, talking about how good it was that he did. And he's going to be like, well, if it's not lying if they tell me I did it and I don't necessarily say I didn't.
He's just stirring the pot. That's all he's doing.
Yeah,
he's like, take all the information.
It's a lie via omission.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought him and Baron held their own here. And I'm like, this is another pairing I could see more of in the future. Baron Corbin working with Lexis King. I think that'd be fun. Barry says that he agrees with Twitter. Well, I mean, you watch Impact Wrestling, so, it is what it is, Barry. No, I'm just kidding. Like, I get it. Some people don't like Lexis King's promo style. I didn't think he did all that bad in either promo. We then get out of the mud, OTM, taking on the oh, sorry. Did you have thoughts on that segment, Parrish?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Twitter should shut up for watching a development of someone. Like, he's not doing bad work at all. You guys are completely right. When it comes down to what you like, he's not doing bad. It was a good initial presentation of him. He's giving you a little bit more every week. He's working on stuff. He's more complete today than he's ever been in his lifetime. And I think a lot of people need to just chill and watch him grow, because this is the fun part of watching someone who truly cares.
And I think it's fun because we're getting spoon-fed pieces of his personality, and we're getting spoon-fed elements of his character. And while I initially hated the idea when I saw it on Twitter that Lexus King was going to be the name, but then you see the references that what Lexus King means to him online, and then you get the promo the following, like 2 or 3 days after they say Lexus King is going to be Brian Pillman Jr.'s name, and everybody goes crazy, as I did too with Astrid, being like, this is stupid. Why wouldn't you just name him Brian Pillman Jr.? Like, you have the rights to all the stuff. But he gives you the rationale, and they have a storyline to it. Is it the greatest storyline? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not one to judge about that yet. I'm still seeing the beginning of it. But at least there's a reason. Unlike the genesis of McGillicuddy, or just changing Taya Valkyrie's name, or making War Machine the War Raiders, the Viking Raiders, the Viking Experience, the Viking Raiders, the Viking exhibition at Disney World Resort. Like, at least with this, there's a reason. We have a valid reason from him about why this change is happening. It's a storyline-driven name change, which is the best name change, because there's a rationale to it. It's giving him something to sink his teeth into. He can go back to Brian Pillman in 4 years. If this falls flat on his face and he can't do it, and it sucks, then guess what? You just pivot to Brian Pillman Jr., say it was all a stupid idea, and you just go for it with Brian Pillman Jr., and you let the internet say, see, you should have done it that way from the beginning. But at least give the kid an opportunity to try.
Yeah, the company wanted to be this guy, but I'm just Chaz from Jersey.
Yeah.
Like, I agree, though. Like, I agree with you. People need to kind of just chill and watch what he does, because he's not doing a bad thing. As you said, him and Baron, they look good together. There's something there, and I think that's something we should work with. I love the fact that he's just taking credit for something people think he did. And guess what? It actually might be good if he did do it. And he's just messing with people, because he's kind of doing that as it is. Everything is like already, like, it's kind of a joke to him, but he's the one controlling the joke. And I think that's the good thing about it. So I think people need to like just relax, because at the end of the day, we might even see Carmelo Hayes and Lexus King do something together.
Yeah.
Think about it.
I
It makes
can't
all the
wait
sense
for
in the world.
King versus Trick Williams. Like, at this point, I'm excited for that match. That's something
Imagine if Iron Survivor comes down to Lexus King and Trick Williams, and that's when Carmelo Hayes makes his presence felt.
Oh,
How crazy would that be?
As of right now, my 5 men's competitors are Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Lexus King, Dijak, and Trick. That's my 5. I think that's the perfect 5. Ashley, don't forget you are muted. I think that's my 5 for the men's Iron Survivor, because I think it gives you the most storyline opportunities. Dijak and Braun have a story building right now. Braun and Carmelo have a story building. You're building with Trick, Carmelo, and Lexus. You've got Trick and Carmelo. Like, you've got all these great little storylines, and Carmelo weaves into all of them. Like, he even weaves into the Dijak stuff too. So I think those 5 make up the perfect men's Iron Survivor. And there's no bad way to start that. Like, you can any combination of those starts. Because in the women's Iron Survivor, the one thing we didn't talk about, Ashley talks about how does Lash Legend do in Iron Survivor. She has to be the 5th competitor in the Iron Survivor, because she has to be in there as little as possible. So she can only start last and have the 10 minutes that she has to wrestle, and hopefully get pinned 3 or 4 times, so that knocks off 90 seconds, so she's only out there for really 3 or 4 minutes. Like, ideally, that's what you do with her in this match. Anyways, Out of the Mud versus the Brawling Brutes. This was a good match, but I want to go to Parrish for this one. Parrish, again, we rarely get this the idea of having an in-ring talent on the show and being able to talk about it. I want you to continue talking about the momentum and the journey of young wrestlers. Talk to me about Bronco Nima and Lucian Price and your thoughts on them as an in-ring talent, because we know the Brawling Brutes. We know what we're getting out of those two. Talk to me about OTM. What do you think of that?
I can't wait for the new Grand Theft Auto game. That's what I think about it. They remind me so much of Grand Theft Auto 5, and it's weird. I just don't get it. But at the same time,
Bronco Nima does have the main character from GTA 5 theme going on here. But yeah, moving on.
I also think they need to dump Scripps. That guy is so useless. Like, what does he do? Like, these guys are like Inoki and Blade 2.0, but like, it's like you mix them with Hernandez and Homicide almost. Like, just a mix between them. It's like
you're almost
but that's like that's what I mean. But like, I don't know. Like, they're not a team that I know much about. However, okay, there's something with them. I still don't get it. I still don't get their presentation. I think it's gonna take time to figure it out and realize it. I don't know. Maybe this is just a generic Canadian white guy not getting it. I don't know. I really don't know. But at the same time, they're not bad. But Scripps doesn't do anything with them. I like to see Scripps more there, I guess. I don't know. Like, he just makes no sense with them. But at the same time,
he's from the hood and the streets, and he's not this wine sipping circus freak.
He's as believable as being a gangster as Carlton Banks, and nobody. If you get that reference, you know that's bad. This guy used to like say like, "Oh, I broke into the PC. Nobody knows who I am," and now he's using that same name, and everybody knows who he's at. This is Reggie, which is like the least gangster name you can get, and now he's like, "I'm Scripps," and it's like, cool. That's still a stupid gangster name, and this is coming from, once again, the Canadian white boy who knows nothing about being a gangster.
All right. Enough from Informer down there on the bottom of the screen. Astrid, why don't you go ahead and talk about this tag team match? What do you think?
I think I missed the match in itself, but just like a person, just like I don't understand OTM. I don't get it. I really don't. And I'm not a Canadian white guy, so even I don't know. So that tells you something. It's just it's like they're good in the ring. I just don't understand like the gimmick in itself. And it's like I still, whenever I see Reggie and I think of Scripps and Reggie, and it's like I don't like this combination here, and it's just frustrating to see it on a weekly basis when Reggie could have been doing more things as Reggie as he was before, rather than what he's doing now. It's frustrating to see it. That's the only thing. But I don't know, with OTM, I did like how they started to like give us a presentation from them with the video packages before, and even introducing their backgrounds. But the gimmick in itself, it just I don't get it. I really don't. I can't think about anything about it. I like how they wrestle though. It's like I like how they perform, but I wish they didn't have these characters. It makes me think of like they could have done something different with these guys. And yeah, it's not my cup of tea when it comes to that part of like the character in itself. But I'm hoping like they find their footing to like find something else for them sometime in the near future.
I have an idea that actually could give him something. When he's back and available, give me a heel R-Truth to lead them down. I can get behind that.
We do have Barry Monkey jumping in saying that's how tough he is. He grew up on the mean streets of somewhere, surviving with a name like Reginald. Anyways, we get another Grunge Gacy promo from atop the Performance Center as he talks about how he isn't here to burn his dog. He isn't here to steal the spotlight or inflict justice. He's just here to be him, and that nobody sees him how he is. And everybody tries to put him in a box or make him look the way that he is. But you know what? He's different. Nobody gets him. Nobody understands. But maybe they will. And he says, I can feel the energy from everybody down below me as he stands upon the top of the building. And then he ends the promo by taking the phone and chucking it off the roof. And it just goes, wee, plunk. And because it breaks into 1,000 pieces, it's obviously an iPhone, because those are pieces of garbage, just like this Gacy promo. Speaking of things that weren't absolute garbage, Ariana Grace
Tell us
versus
what you really think.
I don't get it. I don't get this Gacy stuff. I don't get, wannabe grunge, wannabe Kurt Cobain, Joe Gacy. I don't get it.
I miss Gacy. I really do.
I feel honestly bad for the guy because he got the wrong, like the end of the stick here. His tag team was like, I hate this place, but the company won't let them leave. They finally get out. For whatever reason, they don't keep Ava Raine with her. And then now he's here. He's like stuck in this box where nobody knows what to do with him. He clearly is trying to do something. It's not resonating. Like, you got to take a step back and just look at it. This is a good talent that you're doing nothing with right now. This guy should have been NXT champion when Braun Breaker was boring the audience with his title reign. And now he's here. Where did we go wrong, people? We got to find something for Joe Gacy. He's too good to be stuck in this box. It's not right.
To put in perspective how good Joe Gacy is, when he was on the Indies working in Evolve, he was a tag team world champion with one of the best talkers in the game and one of the people that has the most respect out of anybody in AEW / Ring of Honor. Eddie Kingston was his tag team partner in Evolve. And now he's boiled down to knockoff Kurt Cobain, grunge wannabe from Seattle 30 years too late. But when talking about good things, NXT had a second women's match on the card, continuing their trend of having at least 2 plus segments. So good job, NXT. And again, NXT featured a whole bunch of women in the backstage promo, which sets up this match between Ariana Grace and Gigi Dolan. And both of them look really good. I thought Gigi had one of her better matches in her singles run here with Ariana Grace. I thought Ariana, while being young, was still able to keep up at the speed that Gigi wants to wrestle at without really falling apart. And she had a showcase here by having a good opportunity to almost beat Gigi Dolan if she hadn't tried to cheat to win, where she gets caught and then that ends up with Gigi winning. I thought they did a really, really good job with these two. They didn't give them a ton of time. They didn't need a ton of time. This was given about 5 minutes, and that's probably all they needed. Mm-hmm. Could they have a longer match? Sure, they could have a longer, better match. But at least they have something going on between these two, and they're giving, Ariana Grace a thing. And, talking about Canadians and great Canadians, and Barry Monkey says, Ariana Grace looks like a genuine future in-ring star. She does. And you want to know why that is? Because she was trained by Lance Storm, and her father is Santino Marella. Like, I think she's one of the last few students of the Lance Storm Academy, right? If I remember correctly? I know her dad.
Keep talking, I'll fact check it for you.
Okay. I do know that she at least is Santino's daughter. That I definitely know. Astrid, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like you said it's like it didn't need a ton of time, and I feel like they great work together. And like I keep thinking this is one of those times that I feel like Gigi didn't have to slow down for the person going against her, which was it worked great for her in this match particularly. And I like what they're doing with Ariana because even though she's losing, at the end she's still shining somehow. Especially because at the end of the match we see Gigi towards the ramp And she's kind of making fun of Ariana for winning the match, but Ariana's gathering her stuff and putting her crown back and, do her princess wave all over again. And I love those little details of what she does, because even then she's like, I'm picking myself up after like losing and everything. She's like, I'm going back to what I do best. So it's like, I love seeing those little bits, because I feel like it reminds me a lot of, for example, of like people like the Iconics, even a Chelsea Green, that she brings up and she already has something funny about her. And I feel like it doesn't happen often with the girls. Oh gosh.
Barry Monkey says she's
not.
Part sock puppet. Remember, the Cobra isn't a sock puppet. The Cobra is a dangerous wrestling move.
You're confusing with Mr. Socko.
Yeah. No.
That's a sock puppet.
But
it was Tyson Dukes. She was trained by Tyson Dukes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just know that she's up there in one of those great Canadian training grounds, and for some reason I've heard Lance Storm talk great things about her, so I assumed he was one of the last classes that he taught, because I know he just gave up teaching in-ring classes within the last couple of years.
Speaking of which, if WWE could bring in Lance Storm to help train the ladies of NXT, that would be a home run. But the one thing I want to... Ariana Grace has done something that I think a lot of future longevity like placeholders in WWE did right away. She got a character. And she has a character that has range and can work. And I'm not going to lie, that segment earlier is like, why does everything always have to happen in a fight? Like, that was just funny. And it makes you like, okay, I hope Gigi like just punches her in the mouth and like gets it done. Sure, but at the same time, it makes me want to like see this act again because it's entertaining. And she's taken that from her dad, because her dad is quite possibly one of the funniest and most entertaining acts of all time. And he knew how to cut a career doing it. He also knew how to be serious when he had to. And I honestly feel Ariana Grace has this too. She knows that this character that she has is like, I'm going to be like Miss NXT or whatever it is. That is so good, because just like Bianca Belair was the EST of NXT, then she's the EST of WWE. She can take this to the main roster and she could be like, I miss WWE. I miss said show. I miss Raw. I miss SmackDown. And it's hilarious, because if she gets hurt, she can say, I didn't watch this because I miss SmackDown. And then she's like, but don't, like, like she can do things like that. She has a great character with her. A character I want to see more of. A character that I'm already invested in, regardless of a win or loss, which Gigi Dolan needed that win more than Ariana Grace needed. And it was such smart booking. Smart booking.
The other thing is,
the way she acted after, I'm going to put the sash back on, the crown's still on. Yeah. What a stud. What a stud.
One of the things that she's mentioned in the past that I think people forget is, not only is she Santino's daughter, but remember, her aunt is Santina Marella, who is Miss WrestleMania. Remember, she won the Battle Royal at WrestleMania 25. No, 20. Was it 25 or 30? I forget which one. No, 25.
I don't care.
WrestleMania, Santina Marella.
I know. I don't care. The only thing, I don't know if it was me though. Oh, what? You're cutting off.
I was gonna say, did we ever have a moment where we face palmed at the same time?
But I don't know if it was me though. The camera angle towards Gigi at the entrance, I feel like they took a little bit too long towards Gigi instead of Ariana, and it made me wonder if somebody was going to attack Gigi from behind, because they were concentrated too much on her before Ariana got everything together. So that's the only thing that the camera angle here made me think something's going to happen.
Also, Gigi Dolan's new theme sucks. Go back to the first one she had. That was a banger.
Just go back to Toxic Attraction theme and call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
The Sweet Dreams one was so good.
Oh yeah, it really was.
We get story time about Robert Stone and Von Wagner. This was okay, and apparently they're going to go have dinner at Robert Stone's house. Moving on, we get Baron Corbin getting ready for the main event. And Eddie Thorpe comes. Eddie Thorpe's back. Mel,
Finally.
You saw Eddie Thorpe again. He says he had to take a couple weeks off after the last time he was here because he won, but it took everything out of him to win that strap match. So he had to go and get his Bruja back, and he had to go and recharge in the outside to charge his physical, his spiritual, and his mental abilities. But now he's back, and he wants to go ahead and put on a good show for those Hall of Famers so that he can try to get a match in the Iron Survivor, to which Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the Oompa Loompa that is Damon Kemp and Drew Gulak come up there, Catch Point University, and they go ahead and essentially challenge him for a match next week. So they didn't announce it, but we're going to get Charlie Dempsey versus Eddie Thorpe in a match next week. And I pray that's not one of JBL's Iron Survivor things.
I was thinking that too. I was like, this better not be one of them, please. No.
This is the moment where we get Chase being attacked by the paparazzi outside, trying to get answers as to what's going on. And he says, you know what? It's a heartbreaking day that we lost the tag team titles, but that's it. I'm participating with the investigation. I have no more further comment until then. And then JC Jane pulls up and she's like, get in, Mr. Chase, get in, get in. And he runs into the car and they drive off together. She's up to something. We find out that JBL is indeed next week's legend, which means in 2 weeks it's Jerry Lawler picking people. God, I hope they really, really give him a script for the women's one, because I have a real bad feeling about him picking people for the women's one.
I'm very afraid.
We also get confirmation that the only 2 confirmed matches for next week are Lyra versus Zaya for the NXT Women's Championship and Chad Gable versus Noam Dar for the Heritage Cup. But remember that next week is the anniversary of me in this one, taking over from this guy down here. So make sure you go ahead.
My work.
What's that?
Or thank my work if you want.
Yeah, we'll thank your work, curse your work, depending on how much they like me. It's really that's up to them.
I curse my work. It's okay. But also, like on one note, before you go anywhere, though, I'm so happy that you guys have that moment, and I'm really proud of you guys. And I love the fact that we're still able to get NXT coverage from both of you, because you guys are phenomenal at it, and I'm very happy to see you guys just kill it. And congratulations.
So, for those that don't know, I was gonna break this down last week, but we'll just do
story time.
Yeah, story time with Uncle Ed.
I have a book.
But when we were at our previous home, there was a 3-man team that made up NXTEA. Yes, story. As Ali Rose says, story time. At our old home at Love Wrestling, there was a 3-person team: me, Astrid, and Cody, that made up NXT. Cody started getting caught up with work, so NXT, more often than not, towards the end, was just Astrid and I. Unfortunately, I had a falling out with Love Wrestling. I wasn't feeling the love, shall we say. And so I left Love Wrestling, and I decided I was going to start to go off on my own. And while I was getting stuff ready for my own coverage of NXT, to continue having coverage of NXT on a weekly basis on Love Wrestling, this man down here, Mr. Chris Parrish, went ahead and stepped in. And instead of having NXT, because he didn't feel like that was right for him to step into those shoes, he created Taking Over. And he brought on Astrid to make sure that, him and her could still talk once a week about NXT and continue having great NXT coverage on that platform. Unfortunately, I wasn't the only exodus from Love Wrestling, as after I left, soon a couple other people followed. Things happened. The past is the past. Things happened. Everybody's better off for it. They're killing it, doing the stuff that they do. We're having a bunch of fun. A bunch of friends who left Love Wrestling started our local establishment last October. We had a great time, and Taking Over started here. They brought it in over here, and after a few episodes, Parrish's work schedule got too heavy for him to hold, so he needed to go ahead and have me fill in for one night. Work was going to be tight. He wasn't going to be able to watch the show. So I came in to host one night only of Taking Over. That, however, formed into 2 weeks in a row of me hosting Taking Over with Astrid.
And you never left.
To which I then decided, you know what? This is my home now. And with the grace that Parrish gave me, he go ahead and gave me the reins to go ahead and become the official co-host with Astrid Pizarro of Taking Over. And that anniversary will be next week. So to put in perspective, next week was the week that I officially took over as the Taking Over host. This week would have been the second week that I was doing it. Last week would have been the first week that I had guest hosted. So it's going to be a fun anniversary. We've got some fun stuff planned. I'm trying to get one more video made. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it. It's going to be a long time. Ali Rose said, Astrid can't get rid of him. Congrats on the anniversary. No, she really can't. She came on wrestling, got paired with me and another fat guy with a beard. And then the fat guy with a beard decided he didn't want to work Tuesdays no more. And he wanted to be all elite. He went ahead and kept up on his all elite show and gave us Cody. And you know what? We had a great thing. We had a great time.
Parrish just got everything.
I was like so lost where this was going.
Anyway, next week, special episode of Taking Over. Me and Ashton.
At least my pages are blank.
And then we have the main event. Baron Corbin versus Wesley. Ali says that she'd buy that book. Trust me, buy that book. It'll be free. I'm not much of a writer. She is, though, so maybe she'll write that story for a Christmas novel. Anyways, Astrid, what were your thoughts on this main event that you didn't feel was a main event?
I mean, let me clarify. Hold on, and don't get people to attack me here. No, I just seeing the match in itself because I don't want to say I'm used to, but I feel like when a match like this gets announced, I kept thinking like something must be happening on the line or even after the match during when it ends for it to be considered a main event. Because if not, like what considers it a main event compared to the other matches that we had tonight? That was like my take on it. I'm like I still wanted to watch it. And it was that moment is like, you know, I had fun watching it. I missed Wesley in the ring and definitely like this showed me how much I missed him. I miss seeing, you know, the way he wrestles like that way because we don't get to see that often. So I did love the match between him and Corbin here. And even thinking of like the ending when he still attacks Wesley and Dragunov comes in like exactly right on point. And it just leads to the match announcement for Deadline, which I was like, I don't know why I felt like it was official already, but it wasn't. But now it is official for some reason. But I thought it was funny. In my mind, I thought it was. But overall, I enjoyed the match. I just wanted to know like why this was like a main event compared to the rest of the matches. Like I guess Wesley's return match has to be a main event because it's the return match. But still is nice to see what's happening here. And how we get Dragunov now and Corbin up for Deadline as well because I love Corbin, so I'm glad this is happening.
I think the only other match that could have main evented this show was the tag team title match, but I think that they had a plan for the reason why that didn't main event, which I think is good because at least if you're not going to main event with a title match, have a reason. You have them in the opening of the show, but you have stuff happen later on in the show dealing with that. So I think you can give them the benefit of the doubt there. Unlike, as me and Parrish said last week on Wrestle Draft, having your world championship match with two of your big young guns for the future, open your show with no rhyme or reason as to why it's not the main event. Parrish, what do you think of this match? Oh.
Well, before going to the match, I think the only other match, really, when you think about it, that could have main evented, I think was Coffee versus Trick. I think, really, that was the other option. But I thought this match was really good, and I think this is. I think when Baron Corbin goes in the ring, he's shown you what it takes to be somebody in the company of WWE, not just NXT. He's given you a reason what it takes. Baron Corbin is finally starting to get the love and the appreciation and the respect because of the work he's doing. He made Wesley look really good. I love the fact that Dominic Mysterio gets involved and Wesley takes shots at him. I still don't understand why Wesley decides to give him a knee to where his championship is. And I'm very happy Dominic Mysterio did not sell that. Because I would question if I was Wesley, I'd be smarter and I'd sell my knee a little bit because you just kicked gold, you idiot. Why? Or need gold at the least, but still. But I thought Baron Corbin getting the win was good. I thought Wesley had a great showing coming in. We go back to that earlier segment where Wesley's like, I don't want to fight you. You kind of look like a coward by doing that, if you ask me. But I'm also questioning not questioning, but I'm curious to what he says. I had something else in mind. So curious to see if that is Dom or if that's something else. But I like this. I like the fact that Baron Corbin puts the beating on after he wins this match. I love the Ilya Dragunov coming out to save. He gets that German suplex in. He goes for that flying headbutt, meets into the end of days. I love the fact that Baron Corbin is standing tall, holding after he drops, but holding the NXT championship, because I think we're going to see one or two things at Deadline. We're either going to see Ilya Dragunov become the second person ever to kick out of the end of days, or Baron Corbin is walking out as NXT champion.
Yeah, I think this was great. I thought that... No, Barry, no. Anyways, moving on. No, I thought this was a great little segment for them. I thought everything got over here. You've got Wesley with Dominic, and you got moving on towards that match. You've got Ilya Dragunov and Baron Corbin. I also like that Baron Corbin never puts the title over his head. He like picks it up and looks at it, but it never quite goes over his shoulders. So we don't have that curse of the champion, because you always have that one scene where you have the person holding the title over their head and then you're like, oh, they're going to lose. I like that we didn't get that. I like how he just throws it back down to Ilya. And when he has that stand tall moment, it's just him. And you're looking up at Ilya at the title and then up to Baron Corbin. Corbin is, like Ashton said, like Parrish said, he's one of the best. I think he's so slept on as one of these guys who just does everything he needs to do. And I hope, like John Cena, that at the end of his career, people can continue giving him the respect he's getting now, but in front of 40, 50, 60, 100,000 people at a WrestleMania or something like that. I wouldn't mind putting the title on him and having him and Ilya battle back and forth all the way to Stand and Deliver. I think it'd be fun if you could have, don't do literally carbon copy the Dolph Ziggler stuff. Take the Dolph Ziggler World Championship win that led to Stand and Deliver and do the exact same thing. Maybe you don't have him win it at Raw the next night and you have him win it at Stand and Deliver, but I think it's definitely Corbin needs a short reign, and I think you can do that without hurting Ilya too badly, because Ilya doesn't need this. Ilya is another one of those, we talked about Braun Breaker, we talked about Roxanne Perez. Ilya Dragunov, while yes, he hasn't had a run with the championship, yeah, he can do a lot of good things with that championship and have a lot of fun matches. I'd rather see him on the main roster having fun matches than continue watching him having fun matches on NXT.
Can you imagine if him and Gunther start the Rumble this year? Or next year? Oh my God.
No, I don't think that at all. Anyways. That's enough of Barry Monkey for tonight. Thank you for staying up late with us, Barry. We do know it's 5 a.m. and we appreciate you. Mr. Chris Barrett, where can we find you this week?
Well, tomorrow we're right back with each other, Ed, with Wrestle Draft. That's going to be fun. You can follow me everywhere in the ticker below. In fact, I don't even care about that right now. I'm looking at my computer and I'm seeing some stuff. And I'm seeing Ashford at 86 followers on Twitch, and that is a travesty. Our goal is 100. Let's get people to 100. You told me I could swear. This is bullshit, people. Get her up to 100. Do it. You can reach her at Ashford Zara. Her name's right there. Just there. Do it. 100. And Ed. Ed Price 2002. Get him to 100. Fuck. Come on, people.
Where can the good people find you since Parrish has wasted his time to plug him?
I plugged you guys, not me.
Oh gosh. You can find me at Exit Blue Skies, Astro Pizarro, and then Instagram and Threads, Astro Pizarro 20. Everything else when it comes to my writing will be pinned my Twitter account there as well. And everything else will be my YouTube channel for now. I know there's not a lot going on at the moment because I'm working a lot, but when I'm not working, I'll put more stuff out. So.
And of course, as Parrish said, you can find me on Twitch as I simulcast most of the stuff. We tried something new tonight with having taking over on the YouTube channel. We're probably going to go back to having it as simulcast on my Twitch channel again next week. But you can find me at EdFries12584 on Twitter. You can find out where all my shows take place on that. You can go ahead and see most of those shows simulcasted on Twitch at EdFries2002. You can catch me tomorrow night, as Parrish said, with him for Wrestle Draft. You can also catch me in the near future. Me and Andre are going to be starting the Marvel Cinematic Universe Rebound. MCU Rebound is starting soon, as Andre and I and some friends are going to go all the way back to the beginning. And we're going to start with Iron Man from 2008. And we're going to review and react to all of these wonderful movies. So definitely go ahead and check it out. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. Speaking of reacting and reviewing old things, Astrid and I are going to be having, now that I've got the graphics almost ready, I think, maybe, I got to talk to a couple people and see if the graphics are done. We're going to have Talking Takeover, where Astrid and I go back to the beginning of Takeover, and we start with NXT Arrival, WrestleMania 30 weekend, Arrival. We're going to start there. We're going to continue through. We're going to go through the golden age of NXT with the Kevin Owens and the Sami Zayns and the Tyler Blacks. Well, no, not quite back far enough to Tyler Black, but get the idea. We're going to go back to the beginning, and we're going to have a whole bunch of fun. Make sure that you go ahead and check out Rogue Energy at rogueenergy.com at the QR code next to Parrish and Astrid, or you just download their app and go ahead and get it. They got a brand new flavor coming out this week. What flavor is it? Go to the website and find out. But when you go to the website, use our promo code OLEPODS to get 10% off your order. Yeah, that's about it for us this week. We're going to go ahead and raid out to a good friend of the channel. So while we get the raid set up, I'm going to go ahead and play the outro. We'll see y'all soon. Goodbye.
Everyone is watching.